the mic's full potential starts to get in.
Wait, sorry, I didn't get you. Can you repeat that?
At the top left corner, you can find something called as the original sound on.
Where is that?
It's on your Zoom screen.
1 second. Wait. It's on the top panel of the Zoom screen?
It's on, yes. Or else you can go to the audio settings.
Okay, I think that's better because right now I'm sharing my screen. So let me just stop sharing for a minute.
Sure. So now if you come to the Zoom app, without opening any settings, on the top left corner, you can find original sound. It enhances the quality.
Top left corner, I can only see like live on YouTube and that green tick mark. No, I can't.
Sure. No problem. We can. It's okay.
No, do you want me to see in preferences? I can see in preferences. Audio preferences.
Okay.
Okay. Show in meeting option.
You can find music and professional audio, right?
Okay. Original sound is off. You want me to keep it on?
You need to turn it on.
Okay, 1 second. AKG microphone, right?
Yeah, it starts the magic then.
1 second. Now is it better?
Yes. You can increase the gain a little. A little.
I just don't want my breath to create a problem. That's the only reason.
Okay. Let it be this way.
Yeah, that's the thing, because otherwise, I'll breathe and then it'll create a mess.
Yeah. Raunak, we are officially streaming live, and Yash, if we can get started, put a yes in the chat box. Guys, we have 57 people with us right now, and I want to see you message, let's say, number 1 on the chat, please. Yeah, at least. Yes. I want you to respond, guys. Like, I seriously consider, because I'm telling you, let's make this like a social experiment. You give me the points, and I'll drive the conversation in the way that you want it to be. Cool. Okay. Can I see can I see number 2? Sure. Thank you. Okay. One last thing. Can I see number 2 on the chat? Like, spam it. I'm saying it. Spam it. Yep. Thank you. And that's how I want it to be. All right, Raunak, let's get started.
Awesome.
I'll give you a quick introduction. Yep. I'll give a quick introduction.
Okay.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to that time of the day. Welcome to BlueLearn again. Yes, the India's largest student community with across 80,000 people, with more than 80,000 people across different platforms. More importantly, this is a platform where we get to meet like-minded people and at the end of the day, make stories that are worth listening to. Today, we have Raunak Shah. Raunak is a lot than compared to what you find him as. Is an amazing storyteller. Today in this session, we're going to do something which he is a master at: the art of self-expression. Specifically, we're going to go for dating. If you're excited, can I see the word dating, or let's say anything in the chat? Or let's say, put your favorite emoji. Because yes, this session is going to be purely...
Or if you really have the guts, type your crush's name in the chat. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, we can do that.
Let's see if people actually do that.
Yeah.
Oh, people.
Yeah, started.
Nice. I like that.
Cool, great. Raunak, the stage is all yours, man.
All right, awesome, guys. I hope I can live up to the introduction that he's given me. But apart from that, I think first I want to share with you all of you guys that when I was told I have to take a session on self-expression, I was very confused. Just like I'm sure you guys are, because you guys don't know what to expect. And believe me, even I don't know what I'm going to say, because it really is like that. Because everything is self-expression. The way you speak, what clothes you wear, the way you dress, the way you the car that you drive, your intelligence, your ability to express yourself, the words that you use, the language that you speak in, we're all always expressing ourselves in different ways. So when you break down something as broad as that into a PPT, into a session, into a slideshow, and then you bring dating and relationships into it, things are going to get very difficult for me and you both, right? So this is just my take on how self-expression works and what I have learned through my story. And believe me when I can say this, guys, anybody in the Zoom call who thinks that they are bad at self-expression, I can promise you one thing: you are 5 times much better than what I was, right? And I won't get into the details. They know. If you don't know, don't bother about it. But self-expression is something that you can absolutely improve, and that is sort of one of the outcomes that I have for all of you guys in this session, apart from, of course, getting more girlfriends and boyfriends. So let's get into self-expression. So my first slide is basically going to explain the concept of self-expression. What is self-expression? Because it goes beyond communication, it goes beyond just about how you speak or how you look. It goes a lot deeper into that. Just see, I'm just adjusting the screen. All right. Okay, so essentially, self-expression is a mixed bag of six things. What do I think? What do I feel? What do I say? When I say this, what do you hear? What does that make you think? And what does that make you feel? Now, I know initially it feels like, nobody thinks of so many things when they're expressing themselves. But if you go back to any conversation that you've had with anybody, this is generally what this is how it works, right? I think about something which I want to say. I convert that thought into words. That thought makes me feel a certain way. Once those words go into your ear, it makes you interpret something which is also not always under your control. If everything that we said was heard exactly the same way, then so many miscommunications would not happen. So there is a difference between what I say and what you hear as well. And then that makes you think a certain way, and that makes you feel a certain way as well, right? And in general, anybody who's good at self-expression has learned how to master the interconnections and the networks between these three things: my thoughts, my feelings, what I say, what you hear, what you think, and how you feel. So the goal with self-expression, because it's a broad domain, is generally this: that if you're talking to somebody, be it one person, be it 500 people, be it whatever it is, the idea is, how much of myself can I put on the table in terms of what I think and what I feel and what I say through my language, through my limited experience of language, because there are only so many words that I can use, right, in any language. So with my limited availability of language, how much of myself can I put on the table? How much of myself can I express in front of you? How much of me are you getting to see and observe and experience when you're with me? And at the same time, how do you react to it? And how much am I in tune with what your reaction is? Because we're not just talking about one interaction that I go, I meet you, I say something, and then I leave. No, there is a dynamic process, right? So when I say something to you, how does that influence you? And am I able to change my body language or change my behavior to suit what you think and what you feel as well? So generally, the broader idea of any self-expression is, it's like, imagine you are with somebody else on a table and you are trying to put yourself on the table. How much of yourself can you put, and how much of the other person can you understand? And this dynamic process, when you do it very fluidly, it is what and this is generally what is known as charm or confidence or charisma, or all of these things that we say, and like at times, I'm sure all the girls can relate with this, that at times when you're asked, why do you like that guy, like what's so special about him, and they always say this, there is something about him. What is that something? Very often it is self-expression. It is about this being so in tune with what I'm saying and what I'm feeling, and how well I can understand what the other person is also thinking and feeling and experiencing, right? So this is generally what the broader idea of self-expression is. Now ye to theek hai, this is a broad idea. Now let's get into what are the blocks in self-expression, because self-expression ideally should not be difficult. It's literally expressing yourself. It should not be that complicated, and you should not have to think of a lot of things. But clearly we are on the session, so somewhere down the line we feel that I can be better at expressing myself, or I'm not being able to express myself in a way that I want to. And in my experience, these are the three main blocks that all of us experience when we are trying to express ourselves. First and most important one being judgment. We judge ourselves, we judge other people, we judge entities, we judge concepts and events that we don't even understand. And as the quote goes, thinking is difficult, understanding is difficult. That's why we choose to judge. And most often, if you're honest with yourself, in most cases of self-expression, it's your judgment of what you have to say and what the other person is saying that reduces the expression of yourself. And without getting into a very social debate about this, I'm going to give you a very biological understanding on why judgment is hampering your communication and self-expression. What happens is, if I'm talking to you right now, let's say I'm talking to anybody on screen right now, there's a certain amount of bandwidth that I have, a certain amount of cognitive bandwidth which I have. And it's very obvious that the more I can focus on what I'm saying and the more I can focus on the other person, the better my communication is, which means I need to focus very less on myself. Self-consciousness hampers any sort of self-expression. And one flavor of self-consciousness is basically judgment. So if I'm wasting my brain energy, if you're wasting your mental energy asking yourself, oh, can I say this? Should I say this? Is this okay to say? What if I say this? And what if she thinks this? And what if he thinks that? And what if this happens? And what if that happens? And all of that nonsense is purely mental drain. It is reducing your energy from what you're actually meant to express. So judgment is the first block in self-expression. Second block is desperation. Now, desperation is a little difficult to understand, but I mean, honestly, if I don't have to be politically correct, then I can say it very openly, right? The two things that you will never get if you're desperate in life, two things that you will never ever get is money and sex. You will never get sexual validation and you will never get money validation in case you're desperate, because that is simply not how money and sex works, right? And I'm using this the larger example of money and sex, but this applies to basically any interaction in life. People don't like desperate people. The minute you go into this mindset that I cannot do without this, I don't know who I am, my sense of self depends so much on your appreciation of me or your acceptance or your agreement with what I'm saying and what I'm putting to the table, then my identity is dependent on you. And the minute somebody senses that, most of us are not comfortable with that pressure. If you meet me for the first time and you think that, oh, I just need his validation, without his validation I don't know what the hell to do, I'm very uncomfortable with that. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to share anything with you because it's too much pressure for me, right? So desperation is another thing that reduces your self-expression in every single way of the word. Interestingly enough, you can go the other extreme as well. Often you'll see people who have a lot of money, but they spend it on outward expressions, expensive jackets, very expensive cars, overly expensive watches, and that is not attractive. Anybody instantly can come to know, okay, he's just desperate, dude. He's desperate to show the amount of money he has. So desperation doesn't only come from scarcity, it can come even from abundance. The idea is in general not to have your identity dependent on any one entity. The minute you do that, you have entered the territory of desperation. And remember, you're not going to get money and you're not going to get sex, right? So stay away from that area. Second, the third and the probably the trickiest one, which we all do but we never accept, is dishonesty. Now, when I say dishonesty, people often confuse that with lying. Just because you're not explicitly lying to
Raunak,
somebody does not mean, yeah.
people are asking like, what exactly do you mean by desperation? And other thing is, can we take the pace a little
Yeah,
lower?
yeah. I thought so. I will.
Sure.
Okay. So what exactly do I mean by desperation? I'll start there, right? Okay, perfect. So now I'll take an example. Okay. Now let's say I am looking for a job. I'm very talented, I'm very skilled, and I'm going and applying for an interview. Now, in the process, ultimately everyone knows, CV, resume. If I leave all of that also, what really ultimately matters is the interview. Now, in the interview process, the process is for what? Is for expressing my skill set, expressing my talent, expressing what I can do. If I go into it with that mindset that this job literally means everything to me, I don't know who I am with that. If I don't get this job, if I don't get this job, that means I will have a lack of worth of myself. And if I project that in both what I'm saying and in the way I'm saying it and the way my body language is, imagine what the employer is going to feel. This employer he's never worked with you. He doesn't really know how skilled you are. He's just trying to observe, right? This employer is immediately going to feel, yeah, if he was actually that good, if he was really good at what he's talking about, if he was actually that skilled, why would he be so desperate for the job? Right? Why would he need me so badly? इतना ही अच्छा है तो किसी और को anybody else can also hire you. Where is it coming from? And this desperation is a smell. It's a smell that all humans are. We can sniff desperation out very quickly, and this happens on a very subconscious level. So if you come to me for a job, let's say I'm the employer, I will not explicitly tell you, oh, you are not getting a job because you are desperate, but I will sense that, yaar, ये बंदा इतना अच्छा नहीं है, इसको निकालो साइड से. And that is how desperation has created a problem. Your skills were great, everything was great, but because you made the employer insecure about your skill set, so he's like, yeah, this guy is only insecure about his own skills, then what will I do hiring him? So I don't want him. I cannot hire him. He might be a great guy, but I will not hire him. Same thing works even in relationships and dating as well. The minute a girl thinks that everything, that all your validation depends only on her, she's going to feel like, I don't want this kind of a guy. I don't want a guy who doesn't have anything else for himself which is going on, and he depends so much on me, right? And that is when you lost out any chance that you have with her. So this is what desperation means. My sense of self is dependent on what interaction that I have with you, right? I hope that makes the idea of desperation clear, right? Let me just see the chat if there's anything else.
There's just a lot of debate happening about you. Like, what's your age? What do you do? Where are you from? People are like super curious to know about you.
Okay, cool. We can do. I'll answer all those questions at the end. But let me just get
Sure.
through this, right? Now, third one is dishonesty, which is what the most interesting one, which I was talking about, right? And I think dishonesty is something that I can do an entire session only on that, because I think what we need to realize is dishonesty and lying are not exactly the same thing. Just because I don't explicitly lie to you does not mean I'm being honest with you. And this is a slight distinction and it has a difference to understand, right? Pure honesty means I'm honest about my intentions with you. That means when I go and talk to you, some intention to I have, like for example, I'm having a session with you all. Clearly, I want you all to think I'm a good speaker. I want you all to think I'm knowledgeable. I want you all to think that, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. Hopefully, a few of you will go and check my YouTube channel or maybe even become subscribers and in general think very highly of me. Now, if I'm insecure about this intention that, oh no, I don't want them to know this. I want them to think like, I'm damn cool, or I don't want them to know that I'm expecting something from this session, then I'm being dishonest with you. Even though I'm not explicitly lying to you, but I'm not allowing my body or my words or my facial expressions to reveal the intention that I have in the interaction with you. And this is generally what I mean by dishonesty when it comes to self-expression, hiding your intention. Same thing applies to dating as well. Same thing applies even when you go and raise funds. If you want to raise money from investors, a lot of founders do this. They try to fake confidence, and it's embarrassing to see sometimes, right? Because the investor knows that you've come to raise capital, you need the money. At that point of time, pretending that you don't need money is not doing anybody any favors. So there is a difference between desperation and there's a difference between being dishonest. You have to be okay with revealing your intentions, right? And when you don't reveal your intentions is when it becomes an insecurity, and in general it will always ruin your self-expression. And out of all the three blocks, the reason why dishonesty is the most important is because it's particularly dangerous, since I think my experience has been, if you're dishonest, you will attract dishonest people. You will only attract those people who are willing to bear that shit from you, and you will eliminate all healthy and honest people from your life. So if out of all these three blocks, if there's one that you need to start working on from tomorrow, and believe me, it will take some time, is reduce dishonesty. Be okay with revealing your intention. If you like a girl, you like her, let her know. If you need money, you need money, let them know. If you want a job, if you are looking to get hired, let the guy know. Don't pull your intentions back. Either try to create a narrative where the intention genuinely does not exist, which is very difficult, or if it exists, let the other person know. Don't hide your intentions. As far as possible, it's not advisable, and it does reduce your self-expression, right? And that is generally these are the main three blocks when it comes to self-expression. Now coming down to, okay, chalo, gyan to ho gaya self-expression ka, this is what it is, this is how intellectually you can understand it. But from tomorrow, if there's something that you can take away from the session, how are you going to actually express yourself better? Like, okay, all this knowledge is good, but if knowledge was enough, then everyone would be a genius, right? But clearly it's not. So from tomorrow, if you want to express yourself better, how do you start? And I think this is particularly important because a lot of people, including me, we make this mistake of not going stepwise. Most things only work when they go stepwise, and if you jump the gun, if you skip the gun, then things become problematic. Now Ritesh, do you have a question? Do you want to take it right now? We can take it right now.
Raunak, you wanna start the conversation like right away?
Okay, Ritesh, is the question related to anything that I've already said, or is it something different? If you can answer that much, then we can decide. Is he there?
No. Okay, we can
Okay,
continue.
cool. We'll continue. All right. So I was saying, how do you start expressing yourself better, right? Now, in general, if you compare every interaction that you have, most interactions can be boiled down into three categories. One is where you are having a conversation with yourself. And I know most people don't talk to themselves explicitly, but we all have our thoughts that are always moving on. And that's where we spend most of our time, right? If you don't believe me, then just hear one song on repeat and go for a long walk. You'll get into the most interesting therapy sessions with your own mind, and it's beautiful, right? So one experience is that where you are talking, you are having a conversation with yourself. Second is when you are having a conversation with one other person. There is only one person, it's you and the other person, and you're having a conversation with them for whatever reason. And third is when you're talking to a group of people. Now, I'm being very careful in saying group. I'm not talking about public speaking over here. That's a very different conversation. I'm talking about group speaking by and large. Speaking in class, speaking in office, speaking in front of your friends, just having an interaction where there are more than one people who you're addressing in a particular situation. And knowing the steps is very, very important. Now, the problem that people make is when they're trying to improve their self-expression, they directly try to go to stage 2 and stage 3. And they suffer, they make mistakes, they become insecure, and they get stuck in a pattern. Here's my short formula that will help you express better, which I have used on myself as well as with other people. First and foremost, you need to win the game in your mind. Everything starts and ends here. So your personal insecurities are what you have to conquer first. Just before you go on a date, or just before you go to pitch your startup, or just before you go and ask for a job, there are always these small chatter, anxieties, and insecurities that are always in your head, little fears, little shames that you have, that, oh shit, what if I say this, what if I make this mistake, what if I look ugly, what if I look sloppy, what if he doesn't like me, what if she doesn't like me, what if all of these things that I think can happen, what if they all happen in front of me? and you need to win those battles first. So whatever you think is not good about yourself, start by improving them. It might be as simple as wearing a better fitted shirt. It might be as simple as speaking a little loudly. It might be as simple as speaking slowly, which is what I had to do in this session because I was speaking too fast, right? It might be expressing yourself in much better language. It might be speaking in a different language which you're more comfortable in. Whatever it is that you have to do, focus on killing the enemies, all the demons in the mind first, as far as possible. All will not die at once, but as far as possible, kill those insecurities first. Win the personal battle first. Once you feel that your initial apprehensions for whatever it is that is happening has reduced, then you go on to stage two, which is now you start interacting with other people. Now when I say getting into a conversation with yourself, if you want to take this very seriously and you want to improve, I would really recommend recording videos as well. Record an audio, record a video, talk in front of camera, in some or the other way record yourself, and genuinely be comfortable with your own voice, the way you look, the way you talk, the way you dress, all of that. Get that sorted, and then we go on to the next stage, which is social insecurities. Now the game has changed. Now if I'm comfortable with how I look and how I speak, now it's my time to worry about what you think about me, because it is important. It's very easy to say don't care about what other people think, but we live in a social society. Somewhere down the line it does matter. Now the idea is I'm going to talk to one person at one time. We're still not at stage three. We're still not talking in groups. We're still not talking on stage. We're still not talking about classroom presentations and pitch presentations. I'm talking about mastering communication with one person at one time. So suppose I'm talking to you right now, and instead of a screen, there was a actual human being in front of me. All I would focus on is now I'm comfortable with how I speak. I'm comfortable with how I look. What is the other person saying? How are they reacting to me? How are they thinking? How are they feeling? What is exactly going on in their mind, in their body, as far as what is my best understanding of it. This is when you kill your social insecurities, because this is a different category of insecurities that people have, that, oh, he thinks I'm ugly. She thinks I'm not good enough. The boss thinks I'm not skilled enough. This means this. These are these other narratives that we write, which involve another human being who's not even in front of us. It is purely in our mind. Now it's time to kill those demons, and those demons will only happen with practice, right? So suppose you are insecure about the way you speak. If you think you don't speak well, talk to somebody else. See how they react. If they react positively to it, if they think that, okay, we actually had a great conversation, that means you killed your insecurity. Now, let's say they didn't think that you are a good speaker. Let's say they thought that you're very boring. You don't know how to talk. You don't know how to crack jokes. You're so boring. I can't even tell you how useless you are. That will hurt you. No doubt. It will make you feel horrible. But now you have objective feedback that you can go back in your own conversations that you have with yourself and probably start working on it. Right. So this is the second step of killing social insecurities. Expose yourself, talk to more people, talk to new people, and start one by one peeling off all these layers of judgment that you think other people have about you. So you'll know whether other people actually think that about you or they don't. That is when you've crossed stage two, when you're completely comfortable talking to one person at one time, anywhere, any place, whoever it is, whether it's a date or whether it's an office or whether it's in college. That is when we move on to stage three. This is where we get into image insecurities. Now, the funny part about being human beings is that because we've lived in tribes for so long, our one deep coded mechanism is there that the minute I see a group of people, for me, it's a tribe, and I need to seek their approval. Because if I didn't seek their approval, I'll be outcasted and I'll have to die of starvation, which is the worst way to die, right? It's the most dangerous death. The most painful death is being ostracized by your group. So that mechanism, unfortunately, has continued. I wish it didn't continue, but it's continued. So whenever you see a group of people, you go into that mode. Oh my God, they have to like me. If they don't like me, I'm screwed, bro. They have to like me. I need their approval. I need their validation, no matter what. This is where your image comes in. Now, the entire point is not about expressing yourself, but maintaining your whatever image that you think you have to maintain in front of them. And unless you don't get over this hurdle, you will always get stuck in group communications, right? For example, I'm speaking to so many people right now, but I'm not worried about the image that you guys have of me, because I've conquered those image insecurities. And the only way to conquer these image insecurities is outcome independence. Genuinely train yourself on how to be completely outcome independent. A larger way of looking at this is the Gita wala mindset कि काम करो फल की चिंता मत करो. Focus on the best that you can do and genuinely convince yourself that we are not living in tribes. So even if all of you guys, for whatever reason, don't like me at all, I'm not going to die tomorrow. I might not like it, but I'm really, really not going to die tomorrow. I really don't think I'll die tomorrow, right? And that is the idea of outcome independence and how do you conquer image insecurities. So just a quick summary on all of this. Start with just focus on mastering the basics. Conquer whatever it is that you think you are not good at and win those battles first in your mind. Then you go on to your social insecurities. What does she think about me? What does he think about me? Is it really true or is it not true? If it's true, then how can I work on it? If it's not true, then great. Now I know that I'm not that horrible. I'm an amazing person. Once you've done that, now we go into the hardest one, which is outcome independence. When you go in any group conversation, even if it's the most high stake meetings in the world, the people who do all these high stake meetings really well have somewhere down the line calibrated themselves to outcome independence. So even if the outcome is important, they are not focusing on it. And that is the only way to master your expression of yourself in front of a group of people. I wish it was easier. I wish there was a sexier tactic, but there isn't. You can try all the tactics in the world, but ultimately that's by and large what it comes down to: outcome independence, not worrying about what they are going to think about me after the entire process is over. And once you do this, you can learn how to gain feedback from a group, because if I talk to somebody and they give me some feedback about me, that's going to be very valuable for my own journey of exploration and improving my self expression. And once this feedback once the feedback loop really kicks in, then things get really easy for yourself. But provided, remember one thing: whenever you want to conquer a new insecurity around your expression, it starts with the mind. So you need to start with the personal conversations that you have with yourself. Master that, then go to social, then go to image, go back to personal, social, image, go back to personal, social, image, and one by one eliminate all the insecurities that you have. Be it on how you speak, be it about how you look, be it about how much money you have, be it about what car you drive, the way you dress, all of that jazz. One by one, kill all of them through this loop, right? And this is generally how you can improve your self expression. Now getting into, let me just see the chat.
Guys, if you have any questions, you can just put it on the chat box.
Okay, now I think this was generally what I had to speak about, all forms of self expression. Now coming down to the dating and relationships part, which I was told was quite important in this session, right? Now, in my experience as well of self expression, the best playground for expressing yourself is dating and relationships. And the reason for that is just think about it. If I'm talking to a girl, there are so many things that I want from that interaction. I want her to think I look good. I want her to think I'm funny. I want her to think I'm interesting. I want her to think that I'm a good partner. I want her to trust me. I want her to feel safe with me. I want her to have a good time. I want myself to have a good time. I want to trust her. I want to feel comfortable. There's so many expectations that happen in that one complex and contact, you know, interaction that you have, that you can learn a lot about self-expression through interpersonal relationships, primarily dating, right? And because dating is so complicated, because as much as we like it or no, we are living in the age of Tinder, of Bumble, of all sorts of situationships, and we all know how that goes. So from my personal experiences and what I've learned about this entire area of life, if I can say so, this is what I have learned about relationships, and this is what I call the relationship map, which can help you understand your past experiences also, and hopefully map out better future ones. So by and large, when you're interacting with somebody, there are three things that will define your relationship: you have chemistry, you have comfort, and you have compatibility. Right now, when you start, if you meet someone for the first time, let's say you meet a girl for the first time, or you meet a guy for the first time, you've never ever met, you guys are strangers. So compatibility test karne ka to option hai nahi, to wo to that is out of the window. That comes after a long time. The first two things that matter initially is comfort and chemistry. Now, by comfort, it generally boils down to trust. How openly can I talk to you? How much of myself can I share with you? How much of yourself are you willing to share with me? How many jokes can I crack on you? How many jokes can you crack on me? Right? How comfortable are we in each other's energies? How much time do we want to spend with each other? Generally, this comes down to friendship, right? So when they say pyar dosti hai, what they really mean is comfort. In that, it's not really friendship, if you know what I mean, right? What they're really talking about is comfort. Comfort is extremely important for any sort of loving relationship. The other aspect, which is often overlooked, is chemistry. At the end of the day, if it's a romantic relationship, it requires a little bit of chemistry. Only comfort is clearly not going to cut it. So chemistry becomes very important. This is where flirting comes in. This is where banter comes in. This is where like giving each other like subtle compliments, eye contact, body language, this whole jazz of complex information. This is where it comes down to chemistry. And based on whether or not you have comfort and chemistry, you can literally form a 2x2 matrix, right? I know it sounds crazy to do that for relationships, but you can actually do it, and you can know exactly what went wrong, why it went wrong, and what the potential is. So let's say you don't have comfort and you don't have chemistry, then the girl is going to reject you, or the guy is going to reject you. It's going to be straight up, because kuch hai nahi फिर उस relationship में कुछ है ही नहीं. There is no substance to it, and there's no way for you all to really, there's no reason for you all to interact with each other. So that is a clear rejection. Now let's say you have a lot of comfort, but you don't have chemistry. This is where you fall into the trap of the friend zone. And how many guys can relate with this? How many times has this happened? This happens so many times to so many guys, and we always blame the girl. I hope after this session, all of you guys can stop blaming the girl for it, because it's not her fault. This is the real reason of the friend zone. It is not her fault. It is because you didn't focus on imbibing chemistry. You only focused on comfort. So you feel like, yeah, I'm spending so much time with her. She spends all her time with me. We have these long conversations all night long. I share everything with her. She shares everything with me. How can she say no when I asked her out? This is why she said no, because there was a lot of comfort, but there was no chemistry. And chemistry is very, very important for attraction and for a relationship. So this is the deadly area of the friend zone. High comfort, zero chemistry. Now let's flip the switch. Let's say you have a lot of chemistry, a lot of attraction, a lot of sensual flirting, banter, humor, all of that going on, but there was not enough time in the interaction. So there was no comfort. It was just chemistry. This is when you enter the phase of casual hookups, situationships, friends with benefits, or those small relationships that, stay only for the honeymoon phase, 2 3 months, 4 months, 5 months max, and then it snaps. The first time you have a fight, the first time you have a conflict, you have nothing holding the relationship together. Because while chemistry is very important in terms of the sexiness of the situation, comfort is like that glue that holds it together. So in crisis, in terms of crisis, when you guys are fighting with each other, then all the chemistry in the world is not going to help. That time you need comfort. And because you failed to have that base level of comfort in the initial interactions, that relationship didn't work out and it broke even before it could start. Now we get into the point where what happens if both exist. You have enough chemistry and you have enough comfort. Then we get into a space of what I would call mature love, when you sort of are in the phase of life where you can continue the relationship to see what really happens, right? But both have to be there. That is when you come to the ultimate test, which is compatibility. Are my values same as hers? Is what I mean, like what I want from life, does she want the same things in life? How do we relate with each other as individuals? How, like, do I respect her as a person? Does she respect me as a person? This is where issues of compatibility come in, both in terms of like what's her idea of money. Does she want to have kids? Do you want to have kids? What is your idea of money? Where do you want to live in the world? What is your relationship with your parents? These things come to the questions of compatibility. Now the problem is, all of this what I'm saying takes around 6 7 months, maybe even more than that, maybe even a year at times. And then after a years times or so, that's when compatibility really comes as a test. If the compatibility test says yes, then you have the potential to really be with somebody who you think can be your life partner, and you can genuinely have a beautiful relationship with that person, which might even lead to marriage. Unfortunately, if the compatibility test is no, and your values don't match, whether you like it or no, at some point of time you are going to have to break up. And it's those breakups that hurt you the most, because at this point of time the relationship was serious. You did have comfort, you did have chemistry, you had a beautiful time with each other, but simply because the values were not in place, that is why you had to break. That's why you had to break up, and that's why your heart was broken, right? And this is generally the story of every relationship. You always have comfort, you have chemistry, and then you have compatibility. Now what can you take away from all of this? Now just ask yourself for a minute. Ultimately, if compatibility is a non-negotiable, and it's the most important, and it's very, very essential for the relationship to ultimately work out, what if you could flip the switch and make compatibility testing first, then get into comfort and chemistry? Don't you think that would make matters easier? If you brought compatibility into the equation even before you let this to become a proper relationship, you can actually save yourself from a lot of heartache. Now I know most of you, I'm sure most of you guys are very young, you guys are only college students and up, like probably not thinking of settling down in marriage. But this is generally what happens with people as they grow older, as they enter their mid 20s, their late 20s, all of this age. The reason why relationships increase in maturity is because people start testing for compatibility before chemistry, before comfort, because comfort and chemistry, creating it is really not that tough, right? And have enough conversations with people and you'll realize you can create comfort and chemistry left, right, and center. It's not rocket science. But compatibility, that's a tough one, because either it's there or it's not. If it's not there, I'm not sure if it can be really created, because that means you guys are fundamentally different as people, and by definition are not probably meant to be together, right? And this is what my learnings have been through relationships. Hopefully take this map the next time and understand where you're going wrong, because I feel like a lot of times the reason we cause so much pain to ourselves is because we tell ourselves that the reason it didn't work, the reason she friend zoned me, the reason she rejected me, the reason we broke up is because I was not good enough. No, it's not because of that. It's because of the 3 C's. Either chemistry was not there, or comfort was not there, or compatibility was not there. अपने आप को ये क्वेश्चन पूछो, आंसर लेके आओ एंड मूव ऑन. इट इज नॉट बिकॉज you're not good enough. That's just not true, right? And I'll end with one very small slide, but I think a very important concept that I wish I wish somebody would have told me when I was younger, is about the concept of heartbreak, right? If you are going to get into relationships, some will work out, some will not work out, and dil to tootne wala hai usme, utna to you have to know, right? At some point you are going to get your heart broken, and why not? That's also a great experience. But what I want you to know is this very wrong habit of Gen Z which we've gotten, is to call ourselves broken. We love calling ourselves broken. We love thinking of ourselves as broken people. We love thinking that everybody around us is also broken. And what you need to know about being broken is, if you look at yourself through a broken mirror, you'll always see scars. And very often, if you see, it's our perspective on a situation that's broken, it's not us. Going back to the same concept that I said of self-worth, of what you think about yourself, of thinking that you're not good enough, all of that jazz is simply not true. Nobody is not good enough, neither you nor your partner. At any point of time, if you think anybody is not good enough, then please go back to this idea and remember, it's not you who's broken, it's not her or him who's broken, it's your perspective which is broken. And once you fix that, then a lot of things will seem to improve, right? And that is generally how I would talk to anybody who's going through any sort of heartbreak, be it small one, big one, whatever it is. And that sort of brings us to the end, and we can open for questions. Let's see the chat. Oh my god.
Sure, definitely. I mean, there are like a ton of questions in the chat, a lot of them.
Yeah, Zoom chat is difficult to handle, man.
Would you want me to read them out? It'll be easy
No,
for
no, no.
you.
I'm just saying. Does
Sure.
anyone want to ask a question on Zoom? You can do that.
If you raise your hand, I can get you on stage.
Yeah, if anyone wants to ask a direct question, that's great.
Okay.
I'm reading the chat
Okay,
as
we
well.
have Harsh Gupta. Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, Harsh, you can go ahead.
Harsh, you can unmute. I've given you the permission. Yeah.
Hey Chandan,
Hi, man.
how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, if you remember, we had a talk on the live BlueLearn page. If you remember me,
Come again. Come again.
I'm audible.
There's a background music that's coming.
Uh, can I speak after 2 minutes? Like,
Sure, sure, sure. No problem. No
okay.
problem. Yeah. Okay. Next we have Abhiram. Abhiram, yes, I've sent you the request. Yes.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Abhiram, you are.
So hey Raunak, that was a great session. I was able to take in a lot of insights, and
Right.
yeah, a lot of things have happened in my life, even where I got friend zoned and things like that really happened. But eventually, fortunately now I'm in a relationship. But uh, again, the matrix that you've shown me, now
Hmm.
I have crossed that chemistry and comfort zone. And now comes the compatibility. Here, where I'm facing the problem, now things that honeymoon phase has ended, the serious stuff has started.
Right.
So, my values and my girlfriend's values, they're not really in line. I can clearly say that we have these conflicts, we have these misunderstandings quite often, and I'm not really sure what to do actually. It has gone to the edge of even breakup.
Hmm.
But the only concern I have is it's okay even if we break up, because holding on to a relationship that doesn't work long time
Hmm.
is more dreadful than bearing this breakup thing for a short period of time. But what I feel is, if I break up or if any kind of a negative situation comes up,
Hmm.
uh, I feel my partner, she would really break down. She would really take it seriously. She would break down emotionally, and things like that can get worse. So that is something that I do not really want to happen. So if I end up in a situation like this, how do you want me to deal with the situation? Is there any way that I can properly communicate with her and convince her that this decision might be better for our future,
Hmm.
considering?
Hmm. Okay, so I'll share what I think. Okay, and this is just my opinion. There's no reason for you to listen to me. But the reality of the matter is, if your question is there a way to communicate with her effectively? Yes. Is there a way that can guarantee for her to understand what you're saying? Yes. is there a way that you can guarantee whether she'll like what you're saying, whether she'll agree, she'll be happy about it? No, because ultimately you are responsible for your feelings and she is responsible for her feelings, right? And this relationship that, and this entire dynamic that you were explaining is generally, I'm not trying to label you or anybody as anything, but this generally comes down to a bit of like a toxic bond that you have, where you feel like your happiness is somewhere else, but you can't leave the person anyways. Now here's what my opinion is, okay? At any point of time, if you feel like you have to choose between your happiness and the other person's happiness, the correct answer is always to choose your own happiness. Reason for that is, when you choose your own happiness, you give the other person the permission to choose their own happiness. And that's the only situation where both of you all can probably bear temporary pain, but eventually seek your own forms of happiness individually in your own lives. At this point of time, if you sacrifice what you want for her happiness, you are making her feel guilty subconsciously to sacrifice her happiness also for you. So in your head, you'll tell yourself, I'm not happy because she's happy, and she'll tell herself he's happy, and because of that I'm not happy. So in your head the other person is happy, but actually nobody ends up being happy. And this is a generally the cycle of guilt and toxicity that happens to a lot of people in relationships. So this would be my opinion, that be honest with what you want, be sure of it, and tell her. And if you have to be the temporary villain in her life, then you, so be it. Ultimately, if it's going to cause more pain in the future, then in the end you will, she'll always thank you for showing the courage to take the right decision. That's what my opinion is.
Sure, sure. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. In fact, that is what I was thinking to, but I thought maybe there could be a better way to do it. But yeah, I think sometimes it is always a hard way. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Ron.
Most welcome. Who's next?
We have Ritik. Ritik, I've sent you the request to unmute.
Hi Chandan. Hi Ronak. How are you?
Man, what's up?
I am totally good. Actually, I want to ask, you are such a knowledgeable person. Like there's so much insight and there's so much like aha moments when you say about desperation and about that dishonest expressions. It can really relate. I can relate with it. So how you get such a knowledge means first is that how you are getting wise and saying things so accurately or as it is. And second, what's your future goal? Means you want to be a business, or I literally want to know what you have planning, because you are running a podcast as I see. So I just want to know a little about you.
Okay, so Ritik, I'll tell you, I'm not nearly as smart as you think I am. I wish I was all the things that you said, but it's ultimately comes down to expressing themselves. Honestly, nothing that I said over here is rocket science. It's nothing that you didn't already know, but it's just about expressing yourself in language, because language gives structure to what I think. So suppose I think something, or if I feel something, most of us think a lot of these things. We feel a lot of these things, but we are not able to map that out in language, right? Because language, think of it as, if I have to design for a building versus I'm actually being able to build a building. Who will you respect more? Will you only respect the person who has a design of the building, or will you respect somebody who's actually built it? The person who actually builds it, right? So think of language and words as ways to build the design of your thoughts which you have in your head. And the people who can do that well are then you look at the building and say, oh wow, you've built such a good building. You had the same building in your head, but because you didn't learn the ability to map it onto words, one person seems wise and the other person does not. So don't ever get into this mindset that you think somebody else is very good and intelligent just because they're able to express themselves well, which is the idea of the session as well, right? So don't ever think like that. There's nothing like revolutionary about it. If you want to know more about me, I have two bad habits. I read a lot and I write a lot, right? So if you want to get wise quickly, then you should follow my bad advice. Read every day and write every day. So I think that's about it.
Oh, okay. It's about language, means mapping your words. So, yeah. So, how to yeah, we can shoot our videos, we can read and write, and we can connect with people. But there is some gap. Like there is a better and better situation. So, how you deal with it means because if you are mapping your words as well, there is always a thought behind it. Means if you are not thinking at such a level or clearly, means what you want to say must be clear to another person. So how to do that? Means it's a practice game.
It's a
Or
practice game, and I'll tell you something more than practice. No, it's also about stakes. So I'll explain the concept of stakes. Suppose I want to become better at something, but I don't. How will you know whether you're becoming better at it? This is a very important question to ask, and this is not just for clarity. This is for everybody over here. Let's say you want to become fitter. Let's say you want to earn more money. Let's say you want to do anything in life. The important question to ask is, how will I know that I'm getting fitter? How will I know that I'm making more money? Now, in some things, it's very objective. In some things like clarity, it's a little subjective. So ask yourself, what game can I play? Or what is it that I can do which will help me measure my clarity? And there's a very famous quote by Peter Drucker. He's known to be like a management guru. He says, what gets measured gets managed. So if you want to really improve something, if you want to manage something in your life, figure out some way to measure it. And clarity measuring is difficult, but the idea is only express yourself more often, be it writing, be it questions, be it talking to people, be it anything, measure your clarity. Play a game where being clear actually makes a difference, which is why also one of the reasons why I said that, dating is a good way to improve your self-expression, because in the first date, like, you'll come to know, I mean, it's like a performance review that you have at the end of the first date, right? Are we going to have the next date or no? And if the answer is no, then you know that it's like, what you need to in a way work on, right? So this is also something important, that what stakes are you putting, and that I think that should make things a little better.
Oh, okay. So, like you talk about getting yourself clear with interaction when you are talking with people, don't be dishonest. Like, I want to learn skills. So in long term, I don't want to do a job. So I want to learn quickly and want to go in job and learn, and after that I will go. I don't want to stay for a long time. But if I tell this to employer that I am here for learning only, I will learn and I will go, he will not hire me. So many situations are that you are must means, I feel, if you clear another person that I'm going to do this, or I'm here for this, he may not take you, or they just fire you, or what you want will not be fulfilled. So how to handle that situations?
There are cases always like that. Ultimately, in some ways, you have to be diplomatic. But still, my only idea will be that, first of all, if you do go in with that mindset that I will go to learn, and then ultimately I will leave the job, and then I'll try to start my own business. At some point, you are going to have to make the switch. And when you make the switch, it's not that at that point of time your boss is not going to be upset with you. He's going to come to know. He's not an idiot. Ultimately, he's your boss, right? So he will know that this is what you had earlier in mind. I don't think fooling somebody is an option. If you really want to create this a mental scam or something, then that's not what I don't think it's feasible in the real world, right? So the other person, now he comes to know. Now, if you do this, you build your like a reputation of yourself as somebody who doesn't say what they do and doesn't do what they say, and that has long-term repercussions. So you might not initially feel the pinch of it. You'll be like, "Haan, mere ko to apna kaam ho gaya. I got what I wanted and I left." But later on, you will always have indications, because, and this is also a very important concept to understand, like especially when you want to raise capital and eventually everything, money flows through trust. People give money not to the most intelligent or the most hardworking or the most competent. They give them to people who they trust first. If you don't trust me, you will never have my money, no matter who you are. That's just how it works. So you don't want to do something to fuck that up, especially when you're early in your career. So I would say, if you have to be dishonest for something, question the intention in the very beginning. Don't try to hide it. Try to question it. Like, do I really need to do it? And if you're really good at what you do and you can add value by the time that you're in the job and you're learning, I don't think your boss should have any problem if you're upfront. In fact, maybe he'll be impressed with your honesty. You never know. It can go either ways. Honesty really impresses at times. So that's what my response would be.
Oh, okay. Great perspective.
Awesome.
Thank you for such a valuable knowledge.
You're welcome. Harsh, let's go.
Harsh, I've
am I audible now?
unmuted you. Yes, you are audible.
Okay, so let me move into silence first. Hello, can I start now?
Yes.
Okay, so see, I'm sharing a thing that I have two best friends, and they both are also best friends in the way. So with one, I'm comfortable but I don't have a chemistry. And with the another one, I am comfortable and have a good level of chemistry. So the thing is, now uh, the she has a boyfriend with which I have a good level of chemistry and comfort. So whenever she go out, she blocks me, like so like his boyfriend is kind of jealous of me, like best friend phase, you can understand, okay? So now what is I told her clearly, like, that you are using me whenever you want to unbox me, you can, and you don't want to you want to chat with me, then you unbox me, and that's all. So she created a misunderstanding and convinced her another best friend to that he talks about us like this and this, and we had a misunderstanding that, and I was the one who was begging for saving the friendship, like, don't now leave me. And at the face I was thinking, like, this is not going good. I'm wasting my time and energy with these girls that I shouldn't do. So what do you think I should do? Like, I should tell them or not? Because uh, with one I'm only comfortable, I have feelings for her. So should you think that I should tell her?
Okay. One second, Harsh. I think it was a very complicated situation. I'm not really sure if I understood everything as well. In general, it seems like a lot of drama, and at least at my age, my opinion is always, it's always better to like in a way reduce the drama that you have in life. That's all honestly I can share from what I understood. But other than that, if your question is, I have feelings for my best friend and I have comfort but no chemistry, should I share it with
Yeah,
her?
exactly.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
you should. But do it in a way. I'll tell you now. See, the problem with the situation is, if you don't have chemistry, there is a very high chance that she might not reciprocate. She might not be willing to be in a
No. Like, I don't want her to come with me in a relationship. I just want to tell. I want to lift off the burden. Like, I'm
Ah,
having to tell her.
do it. Yeah, that's exactly what my advice is. Do it. Do it.
Uh,
Express it to her. Tell her how you feel, and also
is
tell
that
her that
right?
you don't have expectations. It is always the right move, because that is the only way you move on. Right? In one word, this is known as closure. And if we don't always get closure in life, but if you get it, you should always take it. So express yourself. It's always better.
Okay, and the last question, like, you are very energetic, and Chandan, you also, like, how can I build the personality like you both, like the communication skills? How can I improve? Like, I'm reading and writing every day to improve my communication skills, but not doing that much great. So what should I do?
Okay, Harsh, first and foremost, understand one thing. None of what I have done, if any of you guys think I'm a good speaker, not a single attribute of that is personality. It has nothing to do with personality at all. So get that out of your head. It's a very big, huge misconception. If you had met me a couple of years back, you would have, I was not even capable of asking a question in a session like this, forget actually taking one, right? So don't think it's a matter of like personality at all. It's just a matter of practice. And most importantly, it's a matter of feedback. How many situations can you create in your life where speaking better, it directly leads to a better outcome? If you feel like you are reading and writing and practicing but you're not getting better, generally it's because your incentives are not pushing you in the right direction. Incentives are very powerful tools to change human behavior, right? And if you use them to your advantage, subconsciously, or you'll automatically, every interaction you'll get a little better, little better, little better, and eventually things will get better. So if you really want to improve, get this out of your mind that it has to be a personality game. It has nothing to do with personality. Create incentives and you should be far better.
Yeah, because, like, as you told, like, start speaking in front of camera, and I actually started, like, for a straight 1.5 year. I was talking to myself about thing. I just randomly pick any topic and talk about myself with that to that about that topic, and, like, I created even a YouTube channel and posted and created a video and edited that also. But, like, I was saying, I could easily speak for straight 6 to 7 minutes, but that was not even close. I just made that video for 2 minutes. Like, it was almost for 2 minutes. Like, I was not sure about that. Like, how can I improve? Can you give me a path to
Okay, I'll
do
give
that
you a
better?
question. I'll give you a question to ask yourself. Okay, like you said, you recorded a video for two
Yeah.
minutes and you spoke. Great. Now tell me, had you spoken 5% better in the video, how would your life change? How would anything in your life change?
Come again? Sorry.
You had spoken even 5% in the video that you recorded.
Yeah.
Would your life, what aspect of your life would have changed?
Mm, I'm not sure about how to answer this question. Like,
Yeah, that's
I
what I'm saying. So think about this question, right? Most likely the answer is no, right? And that's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. That if you just going through the motions of recording videos is not going to make you a better speaker. Somewhere down the line, speaking better has to make you feel better in some or the other way. It has to lead to some amount of progress in some area of your life. And if you can't create that system of incentives, if you can't create a system that is rewarding you for the progress that you're making, you will never learn how to take feedback and you won't stay consistent with it. That is why it's important. Ask yourself, like the next time you do any practice at all, reading, writing, speaking, listening, whatever it is, any aspect of communication, ask yourself, if I had done this 5% better or 5% worse, would I be rewarded or penalized in any other way? And if the answer is no, then that is where you're going wrong. If the answer is yes, then keep doing at it. You will, I'm sure you'll get better. Okay, 1 second. Okay, Chandan, you'll have to give me a minute. I'm just getting my charger. I'll be back in a second.
So yes, in the meantime, let me just tell you about let's say as we've been previously discussing about, like, what you hear is not the personality of people. It's completely different. Like, both are not even related, and that's where this thing comes, Harsh. I think it's you who were asking, right? Okay, my simple way of, let's say, improving communication is purely by talking to people. I'll tell you something. I started with a very humble way. I still see a very long way for me to go. And in this entire process, one thing which really helped is that even if I feel uncomfortable, I just go and talk to them. At a point, at a point, it doesn't matter whether what they think about us. It's just you, how you play the game. That's it. Yes, Harsh, I've unmuted you. But just a request to everyone. Please, like, do it as fast as possible. We just like ensure to take 1 minute. That's it, so that we have
Yeah,
to
okay.
go across.
I have one more question. What do you think if I like I have a great interest in creating podcasts and posting them. So I have made a list of couple of people like I'm interested in to invite them to my podcast. So do you think like they would come to me like
So that's
when I
where it comes. Even I run my very own podcast.
yeah I
I've
know
been
High
doing
on
it
Track
from the last.
20. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know it. You even told it before. Like we have talked even before on BlueLearn's live.
Oh, you were there. All right.
Yeah,
So talking about, let's say, getting people, it's a very tricky game. It's about, like, okay, at a point, it's just like, why should they come? What is the value that you're adding? So that's where you have to do the groundwork. It doesn't matter in the first initial stages who comes. It's about, like, what is the experience that you're trying to provide. It takes time, but at a point, you will get to a stage. That's what I can ensure. Just keep the game consistent.
okay. Like I have to just
Keep on
ask
doing
them
it.
like yeah. If I didn't ask the
Whether
answer,
even
yeah.
if nobody comes, you record yourself. That
Yeah.
happens. At a point, you just get like super vexed and nobody responds. That happens.
Yeah. Until we don't ask, the answer is always no. Like in short.
Yeah, but always reach out. Always reach out, because it can be yes. It's
Yeah,
because
sure.
of these few yeses which completely changed the podcast, I would
Exactly.
say. All right, so thanks, Harsh. Let's go to the next person. Uh, Megha, I believe. Megha, I've sent you the
Yes.
request. Yes, you can talk.
Hey,
Hi,
Uh,
Meghna. What's up?
hey, Raunak. Is Raunak there?
Sorry.
Okay. So I have a friend who is very caring and sweet, but he loves me actually. So I don't. So whenever I go with him or we have a chat or he always like why you uh, why you don't say yes to me. So I don't have a proper reason to give him. So I don't want to lose him. But so what should I do?
No, so you will have to lose him, and I'll tell you why. I know you don't want to lose him because he's your friend, but I'm going to tell you something, and you probably will not. It's not something that you want to hear. But I will either way. Like I'll share it with you, and then you can decide what you want to do with it. See, at this point of time, you're saying that he's your friend, but if he wants something from you, if he's clearly romantically interested with you, and you are not, then friendship is a lie. That's exactly what I meant by like even dishonesty as well. You have not lied to him. He has not lied to you, but the entire relationship is not built on honesty because he wants something from you that you are not willing to give him. It sounds crude or very rude to say, but that's what the reality of the situation is. And if the topic is actually coming up and you guys are speaking about it, that's a good thing. That means at least you're accepting that this difference in choices and opinions is there. So the only way you can save yourself and him, more importantly him, from the situationship is to, for temporarily you will have to lose him. There is no option, because this is a toxic dependency, right? You are dependent on his friendship, and he is in the hope that at some day you change your mind, and you start dating him, which you also know will never happen. So at this point of time, always honesty is more important. It might be difficult in the short term, but in the long run, it's better for you and him both. And who knows, maybe if he meets somebody else and you meet someone else, maybe friendship might be in up for grabs in the future. But at this point of time, you have to really honestly tell yourself that what you think you have with him right now seems like friendship, but it's not. It's toxic, and it's a
So
dependent.
should I cut him off totally?
Don't cut him off, but tell him that are you willing to be only my friend or no? And if he says like yes, then it's a judgment call. Honestly, I can't make that call for you. It depends on how you guys interact. But at any point of time, you need to make it very, very clear to him that you are not available to date him. And if you and and no matter how it makes him feel, no matter how bad or how angry he gets, this is what you will have to do. There's no option.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Chandan,
Hi, Mega.
your voice is very soothing and
Thank you.
it's great. Yeah, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mega. Next.
Yes, the next person is here.
Hello, Raunak. Hello, Chandan. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hello, I'm Param from West Bengal, and I'm a sophomore student at Acharya Institute, first year student, and I just moved from Kolkata to Bangalore 4 months ago.
Awesome.
And my question is a bit off topic from here.
Okay.
Like since I've joined the college, I had a complete different perspective of what college is. And since I've joined, it feels like a rat race that everyone is running. Like since the 4 months, I haven't learned anything from college, and daily I'm spending 8 hours in college and 2 to 3 hours doing assignments and all, and it is getting very depressed within itself, and uh, I don't know, I'm getting confused to how to deal with it. Like I'm trying to code 2 hours every day. Like I like doing it. I also like writing music and making music, composing music, and I'm also trying to do it and adjusting outside of home for the first time, and I'm not enjoying it at all. And what do you think? How can I come out of it?
So firstly, Param, welcome to engineering college, or I would say welcome to Indian colleges. This is not, at no point I want you to think that this only happens to you. It happens to all of us. It's very common. We've all gone through it. Some people realize it early, like you have. Some people take a few years and then they realize it. But this realization always happens. Don't take it personally. Is the first and most important thing. Do not take it personally. From your voice, I can feel like you think it's only happening to you, which is my concern. My concern is not how bad college is, because I've lived with it. Everyone's is always dealt with it. Do not take it personally. Secondly, you said it doesn't match your expectations. I'm sure it doesn't. But the question I want you to ask yourself is, what were those expectations based on? Was it based on reality? Had you gone to a college and seen how the situation is? Had you spoken to another student? Had you lived a college life before? Most likely the answer is no. Now the reason why I'm saying this is not to say that your expectations are wrong. But if your expectations are not based on what the reality is it worth really having them? Maybe just let them go. Maybe just learn to make the best of the situation that you have in front of you. And it will probably never be as good as what you want it to be, but it is what it is, right? That's the only mindset that you can have. And see, this is very lack of context, right? I mean, I don't even know you. I can't even see you on screen. So it's literally zero context for me. So it's the best that I can give you at this point. I don't want to be too dangerous and give any sort of information that then does not work in your favor. So what you do with respect to your time and your day and your life is up to you. But all I can share is perspectives, which is what I think that you should do. Firstly, don't take it personally. It happens to everybody. It's very normal. You should reward yourself for realizing it early, because people who realize the way I would say it is, people who smell the shit the earliest are the ones who can leave the room the fastest, right? So if you smelled it first, you're lucky. Other people will eventually get there, so you should be happy about that. And secondly, probably drop the expectations. There is no point. Expectations anyway reduce happiness in any domain. And you talk about any job, you talk to any startup founder, anybody anywhere in the world, they'll tell you nothing matches expectations, because those expectations are never built of reality, right? So that's honestly all I
Okay.
have.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Next.
Param, don't worry. I'm in the same place. Nothing to worry. I've been there like 2 years ago, and I'm still there. I work every day, like 14 hours. You consider, but as you said, like it's your interest. That's the only thing that drives you. I must say, it helps you in the long way. All the best. I've sent the request to Bhargavi. Yes, Bhargavi, you can speak.
Yeah, hello, I'm Bhargavi. So my question is about general conversations actually. So I was really good at it before, and what has happened is like after these so many lockdowns due to pandemic, so I've gotten into a shell kind of thing where like I don't do any like conversations with people, and I went back to the college, and when I did it, so it was difficult for me to like have conversations with them. So I keep getting back into that shell again and again where I like don't like to make conversations. Like I don't know how to fix it.
Okay. Okay. So this is what I understand like from the entire situation. Again, I'm sure again a lot of people have gone through this because of lockdown. Now, you were saying that you were good at conversations before you enter the lockdown, right? Which is a good thing. It's good that you were aware enough to know that you were good. So which means we are not here to improve as such your conversation skills. We're just here to give them back to you because you already had them earlier, right? Now, here's a bit of human psychology which is important. A lot of times when we say that I don't feel like doing this, or I don't want to do this, or I'm not motivated enough to do this, generally it comes down to your dopamine system. It's the dopamine that is there in our brains and in our bodies, which creates narratives or reasons for us to do something. It makes doing something worth it, right? There's an expectation of a reward at the end of it, and that is very important for us to do anything, be it even get a glass of water, be it eat a cookie, or be it talk to somebody, or be it even to go into any work, right? So it's a dopamine problem more than anything else. And the reason for this is, now what happened is, initially you were living your normal social college life, having conversations with people, spending time with people, and somewhere down the line in those interactions, it was fueling your dopamine as well. It was motivating you, it was giving you the hormonal kick that you needed to when you were interacting with them. Now all of a sudden, because of COVID, we were locked in our houses, and you were left to the boundaries of your own house. Now you have to figure out a way to get that dopamine without your friends. And what do we have at our disposal? Instagram, Netflix, YouTube, all our devices, right? And that's not, I mean, I also did the same. So I'm on the same boat as you, but that's what we did because we had no other option, because it was all of a sudden, it was not a calming down wala lockdown. It was a band, everything shut, right? So when that happened, you've rewired your interests based on what was available to you in the house. From what I guess, when you're going back to your social life, you're not willing to let go of all of those dopamine systems, which is giving you that sense of comfort. And this is a larger idea also. This is not just for you, but this is for everybody. Social media is the biggest misnomer in the world, because it is that media that will actually make you very antisocial, because it gives you the comfort of feeling like you're interacting with thousands of people as you scroll your feed, but you're not actually interacting with any of them. It's a very one-sided relationship which has no risk, no commitment, no effort, nothing from your end. You are scrolling and I'm getting to know information about who's getting married and who's getting a job and who's doing this and who's having kids, all of that information without effort. And somewhere down the line, your body and your mind has got pampered into this low risk, low investment form of dopamine. So when you go in the real life interaction, you realize that, oh, now I have to talk. I have to express myself. She might not be interested. He might not be interested in actually talking to me. Still, I have to put effort. So what was a very normal social behavior has now turned against us, right? So I would rather tell you to think in those lines. Don't think that you lost something that you and you have to build it again or something. No, I don't think it has anything to do with that. And like conversations also is a skill that's like cycling. Once you build it, it's really impossible for you to forget it or lose it. So I don't think this has anything to do with your skills of your actual conversations, but this is by and large to do with your understanding that where stop you'll have to, if you want to go back to your life like before COVID, you'll have to change certain things that you did in the lockdown, which you're continuing to do now. And by and large, again, is the same problem that when the lockdown was imposed, it was instant, but when the opening up is happening in stages, right? So which is why this mismatch is happening, that we are still clinging on to all the behaviors that we did when we were in lockdown, but now we want to go and talk to people also. You can't have your cake and eat it too, right? So this is where you have to make the call, and it's a judgment call. There's no right or wrong, but it is the decision that you have to make for yourself.
Yes. Raunak, like, thanks a lot for staying until this time. Like, I know
No,
we've
I
experienced, but
always love BlueLearn communities. Like sometimes I feel like doing only Q&As. It's too much fun. Okay,
guys, before we end, we can take like one last question.
Just 1 second. I've got one private message. Let me just see what the situation is.
Sure.
In a relationship with many restrictions from the other side. They say restrictions because intentions are pure from the other side. They do whatever they want because it makes them happy. Yes, Shrishti's question. Okay. Like the question is about relationships, and it's a very valid question, because in relationships at times, yes, if your intentions are pure, the other person might manipulate you. But then the question is, do you want to be with somebody who can manipulate you for your purest intentions? Because that basically means you have two options: either be impure with your intentions for the rest of your life, or be manipulated for the rest of your life. And I don't think either of those options make any sense, right? So if you are genuinely worried that if that your honesty with someone can make them take advantage of you, then you have your answer, like just right there and then. Don't hang out with them, don't spend time with them, end the interaction, and don't take it forward in any way. Because hiding your intentions, how long you'll hide? Yeah, 1 month, 1 year, 10 years, eventually it'll come out, and at that point it's not going to be very pretty. So I hope that answers your question. Yes, we can end now.
So that's it. I think I don't see any more questions.
Yes.
And yeah. All right, guys. So okay, how was the session? I want you to respond on the chat. Okay. Raj, you can raise your hand if you would like to ask something. I see your message, the last one. Guys, in the meantime, I really want you to respond the way you like it, because that itself makes us understand like you need more such sessions, and we will get stuff like that. Raj, I've sent you the request and you can start speaking. Yes.
Yes, Raj, tell me.
Hi, Raunak.
Yes.
I have doubt on myself. The thing is that when I joined my engineering college, I was expecting something different, and the scenario is completely different. In the beginning, I was interested in thing like data science, so I focused like 6 months on that. Now currently I'm in an internship. Now I feel like this is not my shit. I shouldn't do this.
Okay.
Later on, I started after that a few things like content creation, and now I'm loving it. Like whatever I'm doing, it has to be like a track record. It should benefit only me. And when I'm doing all this, I don't feel like मैं दिन भर यही काम करता हूँ. मुझे घूमना जाना अच्छा नहीं लगता, बाहर जाना अच्छा नहीं लगता. 24 घंटे में यही काम कर रहा हूँ. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm wasting my BTech life.
Okay. Okay. I think I get your question, Raj. Again, these are very personal like calls ultimately, and I honestly don't see any reason why I should be giving any gyan in this. But here's what I'll tell you about it. Right? You told me that you did like a data science internship, but you didn't enjoy it, and you realized it was not for you, and you preferred content creation. Right? There's nothing wrong in that. That's absolutely okay. But and I'll ask you a question. You don't have to answer it right now. I just want it to. I want you to keep that question in your mind. In the internship, I don't know whether you were making money or no, but generally, at least you were doing work that can ultimately make some amount of money in the future. Are you making money through content creation? Now, the reason why I'm bringing like money into the equation, if you keep aside all the negative connotations that we have about money at its purest form is an indication of value. If you will only pay me money if I'm adding value to you, right? If I'm not adding value to you, you will not pay me any money, right? You might consume my content or whatever it is, but you will basically not create any value for yourself. So any creator, even if they are making some amount of money through whatever mechanism, brand sponsorships, influencer marketing, whatever, if they're making money, somewhere they are adding value in some or the other form. Right. So what I'm trying to say is when you're comparing your interest for something, make sure you are comparing it at the right footing. Make money in both, play the game of money in both, see, understand what you need to do to create value in both, and then see what you like. And being a creator, I can tell you from a little bit of like a personal experience, making money as a creator is not impossible, but it requires you to be a very different kind of a creator, which not everybody is up for, not everybody wants to do. So keep that in mind when you're making a decision. The only reason I'm saying this is because you've spoken about it with respect to content creation and data science, which is two different words altogether, right? I'm not telling you to choose one or the other. All I'm telling you is, and this is not just for you, but this is for everybody, when comparing two professions, compare them at the same footing. Are you playing the game of money at the same level? And then compare them. If not, then it becomes sort of unfair, saying that, acha, isme I'm enjoying, but real value is not created. So obviously you're enjoying, because you might not be having to make that sacrifice, right? Whereas in data science, you were doing a hardcore internship, which requires a bit of sacrifice, and sometimes we don't enjoy that sacrifice itself. So that is something to think about. That is honestly the only like piece of advice that I can give you, because otherwise I'm not the right person to ask this question to.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome, Raj.
Raunak, shall we end?
Yes.
Before we end, is there like a 1 minute thing that you would like to tell and leave the audience to think about?
1 minute thing, I don't think so. Yeah, I think I always love the BlueLearn community. My time always gets extended, so I've already like lost all sense of that. But I love that. I love this like the questions, and I like the engagement as well. It's great. I'm very happy, and in general also, I think self-expression. I've said it earlier on, even on my Twitter, that it's the sexiest thing that anyone can bear. And I don't mean that only in dating and relationships. I mean that in life in general, right? It really opens up opportunities for yourself, and it is something that you would want to invest a little bit of time in working towards. So start that process and see where it takes you.
Definitely, I totally agree with that. And thanks a lot, Ronak. Thanks for coming. And yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you